Today I fucked up by injuring a heart surgeon in the middle of heart surgery. I am an assistant in heart surgery. I work with over a dozen different surgeons. The one doctor is one of the OGs at this place, been around forever, seen it all, done it all, nothing really bothers him. He's very quiet and reserved during surgery. I'm new here, so I'm really trying to make a good impression. The case before I worked with this doctor was literally the smoothest case I've ever assisted. I was truly a step ahead the entire case, and the surgeon didn't have to ask me to do anything, because I was already doing it. It felt so great. So, when I saw my assignment was to work with him, I was super pumped to get a chance to build on how great the previous case went. So, there we are, in the middle of the surgery. The heart is arrested as diastole, the heart-lung machine is cycling the blood instead, and we have the heart literally cut open to replace a valve. Right in the middle of placing the valve sutures into the heart, he handed me 2 of them, and I went to place a hemostat clamp on them outside of the open chest, like I had with the rest of them. This is a routine and imprecise move, so I was kind of nonchalant about it. Unfortunately, the surgeon pulled his hand back right as I went to clamp, and I clamped a motherfucking metal clamp onto his pinky knuckle. He lurched back, and screamed in pain, looked at me and said, "Now why the fuck did you do that for?" I was speechless, being caught totally off guard. Obviously I hadn't done it on purpose. This reserved and quiet surgeon did a just scored a TD in the Super Bowl spike with the now contaminated with his own blood needle driver he had been holding onto the floor, ripped off his gown and gloves, and stormed out of the room. The entire room was pin-drop quiet. What do we do with this open chest and open heart without a surgeon? What happens now? My career flashed before my eyes. My ears burned like lit sparklers, and sweat started running down my neck. My surgical goggles started fogging up. For a second I felt like I was going to pass out. But 30 seconds later we heard the surgeon slamming the metal panel on the scrub sink, and we knew he was scrubbing back in. He came back in the room a few minutes later, clearly red-hot mad, but we went right back to work and finished the case without a single word about what happened. When he was getting ready to leave the room, I apologized sincerely, which he kind of resentfully accepted. Too long did not read. I ripped a world-class heart surgeon's hand open with a metal clamp in the middle of surgery, which really pissed him off, but he washed the blood off and went right back to work like the professional that he is, and I almost died from shame. Edit. Marked not safe for work due to the fucking F word, and because apparently I'm literally NSFW. Edit for clarification. Don't mistake my comment about being nonchalant as being careless. The point was that I wasn't in the chest, I was back off to the side just clipping sutures together, so it's a different kind of movement than handling tissues inside the chest. My mistake was in having tunnel vision and not seeing the unexpected movement of the surgeon, not in how I was clipping the sutures together. One final edit. Holt shit. I scrub out from a heart transplant today to find that I've hit the front page. So I wanted to add a couple more details. The surgeon was fine, just had the side of his knuckle pinched in their tips of a hemostat hard enough to tear the skin a little. I love my job so much, and am pretty good at it. We've worked together since and it never even came up, because he trusts my skill set. Also, if you have any questions about heart surgery, feel free to ask. We do some awesome gnarly shit. So I guess you're writing this from a giant hole in the earth, right? Okay, wow. Now, that is a Today I Fucked Up worthy of the year's best TIFU. Damn. I once stabbed a heart surgeon with an 18 Ga needle attached to a 30cc syringe full of heparin as we were about to go on pump. It hit the bone. After a change of gloves it was business as usual. Woman shrugging, medium light skin tone. At least there weren't any junior mints nearby. Time to polish up your resume a bit. You might get summoned for a meeting. Today I fucked up by turning my back on a 1800 lb bull which proceeded to ram me into the corral panels. Context. First, we have our cows and bulls in closed corrals, which are enclosed by a recently built metal pipe fence around our house. Since we didn't have a fence around the house, we had to keep our cattle inside these corrals. Yesterday morning, I woke up to discover that one of our pregnant cows had given birth to a very handsome male calf. In the corral, there was the new mother with her newborn, as well as the father, a 1,800-pound Black Angus bull. Now, this bull and I have had our problems, mainly on his part, as I have been mostly responsible for feeding him and providing water. This is why we had to put a nose ring on him to control his temperament. Since the newborn calf was only a few hours old, it kept mistaking the bull for its mother and tried to suck milk from him even though there was none. My mom saw this and was worried that the calf might get sick, as we had experienced the loss of previous young calves. She suggested that it would be a good idea to get the bull out of the corral and tie him somewhere else, not let him roam free due to a welder working on our fence. I followed her suggestion since I had done this before when we needed to clean the corrals. However, I didn't consider that the bull was much younger during those previous instances. As before, I opened the corral doors and grabbed the rope attached to the bull's nose ring to lead him outside. I held the rope close to his face to maintain control and prevent any dangerous behavior. I managed to pull him all the way to the metal pipe fence that surrounds our house, although he resisted. All that was left was to make a knot, and it would be done. Here's where I let go of the rope slightly and turned my back on the bull to make the knot, and that's when he attacked me. I'm not sure how it happened since my back was towards him, but I ended up on the ground with my back against the second lowest pipe, and the bull ramming his head into my abdomen. All I could do at that moment was scream, manly scream, with the little air I had left in me. I'm trying to recall how it felt, and all that comes to mind is one of those movie scenes where a character falls into rapids and is helpless against the overwhelming force. There are two things I remember from that moment. First, I thought to myself, wow, I can't believe this is happening to me. Second, I looked down at my abdomen and saw the bull's eyes staring at me while he exerted his weight on me. This went on for at least 10 seconds until I suddenly felt lighter and quickly pushed myself to the other side of the fence through the openings between the pipes. I spent the following minute trying to catch my breath. It turns out the welder had pulled the bull's tail, causing him to let me go for a moment. Luckily for me, Angus bulls are naturally hornless. Otherwise, this post might not exist. As of now, I'm sore in my abdomen and back. Don't feel like there's anything broken, and if there's bleeding it's internal, which is where blood is supposed to be, JK of course. Needless to say, this incident will not be tolerated, and we will be having carne asada this Saturday. And #X200B. Too long did not read. I tried to move a bull to protect a newborn calf, but the bull charged at me, ramming my abdomen. I escaped through the fence and now I'm sore. Carne asada planned for this Saturday. Probably worth going to a hospital just to check your ribs aren't broken. Also that you don't have internal bleeding. You might have a hairline fracture which won't be immediately obvious but still needs to be set. Carne asada sounds nice. Hope you're okay. But let's be real, that bull was just trying to give you a hug. A really strong and painful one. There are definitely places internally where your blood should not be. I hope you're okay. I can't say I've raised my own, but I do have an animal ag degree which came with some hands-on experience. Can't imagine housing bulls with cows in late gestation calving. There's a mess with the bull joke somewhere here. Glad you're still with us op. If it wasn't an Angus without horns you'd have been a goner. Edit. Spelling. Today I fucked up by agreeing to be monogamous with an online hookup. Okay, so this started this past January. I had just gotten out of a 15-year marriage and decided I wanted to have a little fun and explore, aka have a few hookups. I went on to a few popular hookup sites and made a profile and got a lot of attention really fast. Within a few days, I started flirting online with a few guys and all seemed well. I even met up with a few, and while it was all kinda underwhelming, I chalked it up to experimenting and being kinda awkward after 15 years. Well, the fourth guy the first met up with for dinner was different. He was exactly my type. Tall, long dark hair, absolutely gorgeous. And we clicked in a way I had never clicked before, not even with my ex. He was so giddy and excited and every touch was like absolute electricity. Now, here comes the first in a series of fuck-ups. After the first date, we decided we were going to be lovers. He asked that we be monogamous for safety purposes. He has a piece of property and I have a check-in system with friends. So got his full name, address, etc., did a background check and had my check-in system in place. We met at his property and had a picnic and some fun. It was mind-blowing. We agreed to meet at his property once every other week and at my house every other week since we lived 2 hours apart. Well, the supposed reason we had to meet outdoors at his property is because he is the caretaker for 2 elderly family members that I am not allowed to meet because they are uncomfortable around strangers. Almost immediately he has to constantly cancel our meetups, and he would text me one line here and there, never answer my questions or comment on anything I said. It was frustrating, but we were just lovers, so whatever. When we were together in person, it was like heaven. Like being with someone I have known forever. Well, I decided a month or two in after constantly being ignored that this was annoying and went to break up with him. He admitted he was in love with me and gave me a ring that said, "I love you forever." Okay, I got swept up. AKA I fucked up, because nothing changed. Still getting a text once every few days saying something like, "Hey beautiful." And when I respond, I don't hear anything again for days. Every time we are meant to meet up, he cancels at least 50% of the time. And there is always some kind of excuse: his grandpa is sick, his aunt got poison ivy, he has to plant some tomatoes. Yes, I am under tomatoes as a priority. Well, here I am, 6 months in, and I had to have surgery. I got a text the day of and then nothing for a week. I kept trying to explain how hurtful this was, and he would always lure me back in with an apology and an excuse, and I would take the bait. Perhaps I am just blind as a bat, but I recently realized this man could have a whole other family, kids, etc., and I am just some secret side piece. Anyway, I feel like such a fuck up for letting it get this far and letting myself get treated so poorly. I am breaking up with him once and for all, at least I fucking hope I can. Too long did not read. Kept trying to break up with someone clearly hiding something, but keep ignoring the red flags and getting lured back in. I'm sure his wife's a lovely woman. Try asking for a threesome. Just text him saying, "Hey, just figured I'd give you a heads up, I met your wife today." She knows. Then see how fast you get a response. Not to be mean, but what is there to break up? He clearly didn't think he was in a relationship with you and sadly just used you when it was convenient for him. Don't be too hard on yourself. People can be conniving jerks. You just got out of a long-term relationship and immediately attached yourself to the first guy who said let's lock it down, and after one date. You might have some attachment problems and should scale it back a bit. If you're trying to hook up, keep your emotions out of it. If you're looking for a relationship, evaluate where you are emotionally before you jump in and then make that decision. Maybe even some therapy if your breakup with your ex was bad. And learn to communicate better. Google the term situationship. I found myself caught up in one of these for 8 months before I realized it was a thing. Story seems very much like yours. She broke up with me and went on a trip to Denver with some other guy the next week. Her cousin told me about it.